Our dreamy camping weekend has quickly turned rainy and dreary, but luckily my mom has an awning on her RV because usually when living in my van, this would have meant I was locked in a vehicle for days. However, we must not have positioned the awning right because it started doing this. Oh my gosh. Dad. Luckily, we were able to quickly reposition it and stop it from collecting the water, but this was definitely another lesson added to the list of things we're learning on this trip. If you missed my last video with the first part of our camping trip, hi, I'm Tori, and my parents recently got a used RV, which has been my mom's dream for years, and this is our first family camping trip with the RV to figure out how to use it. And it's also my second time ever staying in a campground in my DIY self-converted camper van, so I'm experimenting for my build as well and learning about my own rig. But I figured I wouldn't let the rain stop me from starting my day any longer. I'm heading to use the campground showers. You can tell I haven't been living full-time in my van for a while because I forgot to pack so many things in my shower bag, but most importantly, my shower shoes, which is easily the most important thing, even more important than a towel because there's no public shower I want to stand in barefoot. I ended up laying a shirt on the floor to avoid having to walk all the way back to the van, but I'm thinking I'm going to need to just write a list down and pin it to my shower bag to check I have everything from now on. But welcome to Colonial Woods Campground in eastern Pennsylvania on the border of New Jersey. We struggled to find any campgrounds with any openings, so we were just happy to be able to book anywhere, which seems to be a situation a lot of people are saying they're having these days. My mom has started looking at trying to book campgrounds a year out so we can find some good places. Not that this is bad, this was a great find, but we would love some beachfront spots or something in Assateague, but obviously I'm getting carried away. This is still our first trip, and this is just meant to be a test run, so I'm glad everything was pretty set and standard. We do have a membership to Harvest Host, which you can find pretty great spots with openings way more often than campgrounds, but they don't tend to have electrical or water hookups, which is what we wanted to practice and learn for this trip. We had a really nice time at this campground. It was nice, pretty, basic. The only real qualm I had is with the bathrooms. Let's start with the fact that they kept the ladies' room door wide open and anyone could just walk by or stand right in front of it or just see almost right into the shower area, but I guess it covered enough that I could just deal with it. The shocked face I just made was because a little girl opened my shower curtain, looked in, made eye contact, and then just left. And then, to make matters worse, a whole family came into the bathroom area. I mean, a whole family, including the men, into the bathroom. I just waited for them to leave because I was so uncomfortable. The shower curtain didn't even cover the whole opening, and unfortunately, it was onward to the next problem. The water only stayed on for 5 seconds at a time. I could barely scrub a single arm before it went off again, so washing my hair was completely out of the picture. I've had some bad showers over the years, but usually it's just because they're cold or because the water pressure is bad, but this was a whole new problem. I wonder if it's just because most RVs that are in campgrounds have showers in them and they have water hookups, so they don't expect most people to use the showers. I'm not sure. Maybe I just caught them at a bad time and it had just broken. I don't know. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because, I don't want to be too negative, but if I was here for more than 2 days, this definitely would have been a problem. Worst shower of my life. 5 seconds the water was on. 5. I have proof. Use my arm strength.
Oh my gosh. So the water never went off on me.
He just kept re-pushing the button.
I didn't even try to wash my hair. Didn't even try. Didn't even attempt. I was like, oh, this is why I live in Walmart parking lots.
You turned off, you get wet. You turned on, you get wet. You turn it back off. Do everything you need, turn it on, rinse off, and you're done.
A monthly membership to Planet Fitness costs as much as this campground for a month, and then I can shower unlimited for 3 hours if I want. Watching that back, I understand why my parents say I'm overdramatic, and I think they're totally justified in that, but also, I noticed that I totally get it from my dad because he seemed to think 5 seconds of water for a shower was more than enough. He probably got that idea from his time in the Navy. And he said the men's bathroom showers water stayed on for a minute, so that would be annoying, but I definitely could have at least washed my hair in that. But if VanLife has taught me anything, it's how to turn a bad situation into something funny and laugh it off instead of letting it get you down. It's definitely only taught me this because little hiccups like this happen at least once a day on average, but regardless, still a great lesson. It brings me so much peace in life to understand how to let things go that don't really hurt me. And I of course came prepared for a situation like this because every once in a while, living in the van, showers can be a struggle. I'm not above saying I've done the classic baby wipe shower every once in a while where I'm somewhere remote without a shower nearby, and I always keep a tiny travel bottle of dry shampoo for when I can't wash my hair for one reason or another. I definitely put a lot of thought onto whether or not I wanted a shower in this van, but in the end, I easily landed confidently against having an internal shower because when I shower, I like to use at least 3 layers of conditioner on my hair, followed by staring at the wall into the abyss while thinking about the meaning of life. And showering in a camper van with anything but a recirculating shower would mean I would need to take really fast showers. And I will say, it's cool to see gyms all over the country and compare, and sometimes I find it really fancy ones, and that's kind of exciting. It's also a good excuse some days to be able to get out of the van when I feel like I've been holed up for a while. And I will be getting a bag shower of some kind to hang on my back van doors eventually for when I'm boondocking to rinse off, but I'm aware it probably won't be enough to wash my hair with. And I also didn't want an internal shower in my van because I've heard so many mold horror stories from van builders when they're working on older camper vans and pulling out showers. Another reason is I already feel like I'm struggling with storage space in here, so I would hate to use even an inch for something I might not use that often. And I've heard that many van lifers feel so confident they want to shower in their van when building it out, but then turn around and when they're living in it full time, never actually use it. And I really don't mind using public gyms or having a membership. It does cost about $350 a year for my Black Card Planet Fitness membership, but I also sometimes use the gym as a place to charge my devices or to get some air conditioning on 2 hot days or heat up on cold days. So it really does have numerous purposes. And sometimes, on a very special occasion, once in a blue moon, I'll even actually use the gym part of the gym. So this is the oven I'm going to be installing in my kitchen unit in my camper van. I just got it in the mail, and I wasn't 100% positive if I was happy with this purchase or not. And so I thought before I actually installed it in the van and made the unit around this and made the exact size hole for it to fit in and kind of made it permanent in my van, I would test it out and make sure I liked it first.
I can get the camera right on top in this one.
So a young boy just alerted us to be careful because they're pumping poop out over there and it smells bad. So as I go to make brownies, that's a bad food to make at this time. The area is now going to smell terrible. So I won't go too deeply into this oven because I don't know much about it besides the fact they used to have a pink one and they're sold out, which has left me heartbroken. I've seen this Wonder oven in a few videos in people's vans, and there was a few reasons I liked it better than the propane ovens. For one, it's much smaller and it's way easier to install. There's no worry about the propane like blowing up or getting hit by a, I don't know, you know, all the horror stories. Also, I could cook with my van doors closed because it's not propane, and I wouldn't have to worry about CO2. I also wouldn't need to install and ventilate a propane locker, etc, etc, etc. However, it is electric, and I'm just not sure if I'll end up never using it because it draws too much power, so I thought I would experiment with it since this is our first real camping trip and our whole intention is just to test things out and learn what we could improve in our rigs. Should I have sprayed this? Let's find out. Oh no, it does say to grease it. What have I done? So I'm using the Campground E1500. It's a 1,536 watt-hour power station, and the oven didn't seem to pull more than 1,400 watts. The battery started at 99% capacity. It preheated to 300 degrees in 2 minutes and 22 seconds, and by then it was on 95% battery, and by the time the brownies were done, it was at 77% capacity. So it took 339 watt-hours or 28.24 amps to cook these brownies.
Ooh, they're starting to look good in there.
It's getting there, she's not there yet.
Another 5 minutes to open it.
Unfortunately, I think 25% battery for one batch of brownies is going to be too much power draw for my van setup. I have been thinking about expanding my battery setup anyway, but I'm going to need to figure out a new solution if this is going to be something I use regularly in my van. Luckily, I was already thinking about expanding for when I want to use my air conditioner or heater for long periods, and my plan was to test out my air conditioner on this trip, but it was actually pretty cold and rainy all weekend, so I didn't have a chance, unfortunately. But I digress, because now we are setting up for one of my favorite van life things, which is outdoor movie nights with a fire. And I'm very psyched because I will get to test out another gadget I got to upgrade my camping van setup. After all these years, I finally have my own camping chair. Yeah, I'm excited enough. This is why I post things on the internet. I'm searching for external validation that you don't give me.
That was a little
What is the character theme of this chair.
There's not. It doesn't have a movie reference.
Oh.
In my defense, this was the chair I wanted to get because it looks like Padme's Lake Como dress from Star Wars, but it's a beach chair and I figured a camping chair was not only more compact but also more versatile, but who knows, I could always like paint this chair to have some movie reference on it someday. Done. Note to self, I need pot holders. And second note to self, dear God, when did camping get so expensive and why do I keep buying more things? This is why I am broke. VanLife was supposed to save me money, but it ends up I only save money once I've been doing it for a while and I've bought everything and the startup price is just painful. However, I guess if I was buying a house, I would also still want chairs for the backyard or a toaster oven and pot holders and all of these things. So maybe just some expenses you'll always need no matter where you live, unless you're really, really, really minimalistic. So, you know, I could just continue being stubborn and using my shirt sleeve as a pot holder, but I don't know. All right, chair reveal. Here she is. It is a rocking chair, which I thought I would love, but honestly, I started to think it was a safety hazard if I rocked, you know, like right into the fire. So I'm just gonna be maybe a tad bit more careful. On another note, one of the funniest things that happened this weekend is when we went to the campground, it was already past the time the office is closed, and my dad was struggling because he had no internet, so he decided to go on a mission to guess the Wi-Fi password, and he actually guessed it in less than 10 tries, which I think is insanely impressive, but also hilarious. Look at that auto realignment all on its big girl self.
The realign.
Yeah, all on its own. Look at that. Is it working? Is it over here? So I spent a solid hour on Pinterest before this trip looking up recipes to try to make a cute aesthetic dessert, and I landed on this simple idea of making brownie cupcakes, then carving out the middle to turn them into little ice cream cups. I saw another version of this where someone made little apple pie cups, which was so adorable, and I just have so many ideas of what I would do with this oven, which is why I really wanted to have it in my van. I got some sea salt caramel ice cream to put in the middle of the brownies, just to add a little something extra. When I was growing up, I used to be a cake decorator for the Salvation Army, and I would decorate elaborate cakes for kids on their adoption days, and I just find it really fun to decorate cakes, like, you know, my forever icon, Peter Millark. May he rest in peace, just in case he was replaced with a capital body double and didn't ever really come back to District 13. Incredible. So good. I want to talk about what we learned on this camping trip since it was meant to be our educational camping test run weekend. My mom and I both kept lists on our phone all weekend for whenever anything came up we wished we'd remember or done differently or learned or wanted to improve upon. So I want to start by sharing her list. She wants to work on figuring out how we can connect the water hoses better, and we didn't know charcoal was going to come out of the new filter, but it seems like from the comments on my last video, a lot of you said we should have run the water through the filter for a while to clean out the charcoal before connecting it to the RV. Which we also forgot to just run the water before attaching it to the RV to check that the water wasn't brown, and also to make sure no sediment came from the ground into the hose. She also wants to get a lock for the surge protector and levels for the RV because she could tell that they were on a deep angle and knew that was bad for the fridge. Another thing she noted was that in all of the chaos and the pouring rain, we forgot to empty the gray water before we left, and we also forgot to pack Coda's outdoor dog bed, which my dad got for Coda so she didn't have to lay on the rough rocks campsites are usually made of. My mom also wants to do more for the moisture in the RV because because the days after our trip, they've been filling up a dehumidifier just far too quickly. And her final note was that on the drive to the campground, there was a really steep hill, and by the time they got to the bottom of it, they could smell their brakes and fumes as if it was overheated, and they want to pay more attention to the incline on hills where they're driving from now on. And she also asked me to say 2 more things. She says, "Thank you so much for all of the birthday wishes on my last video, and 2, if you watched the last 2 videos with the RV and feel like there's anything that are must-haves for camping and boondocking, she would love some recommendations, especially because this week is Prime Days on Amazon with good discounts. And I know on my last video someone suggested a thermocell for a better bug repelling strategy, and it's already in my cart. So we really do read and appreciate all of your suggestions so much, since we are still very new and learning." So while I continue to give you a little visual tour around the campground, I want to tell you some of the things from my list of things I wanted to change or work on. Starting with, I realized I need to prioritize making bug screens for my doors and skylight, otherwise I quickly become the host of a crazy bug rave when the main course for dinner is me. I also want to make a strategy for the times I need to walk in and out of the van quickly when I'm wearing shoes that just doesn't track dirt everywhere. I'm thinking maybe a reusable shoe cover or a rug just for camping or dirty occasions, but my floor got so messy so fast and now it needs to be scrubbed. So even if it's just a matter of putting towels on the ground the way my mom did in the RV, I need to do something, because taking off my high top sneakers every time I need to grab something small like a spoon or a cup isn't realistic. I also realized I didn't like the trash can I bought for my van, which is nice because without a test run camping trip, I might have built it in and been stuck with it for years. I also think I might need to upgrade my fridge lock, because I feel like I kept worrying the fridge was going to snap open from the weight since I was on an angle all weekend, and I think that could be avoided with either a second lock on the other side of the door or something more heavy duty. I also wished I had brought one of my smaller 500 watt power stations for most things I did. I needed the larger power station for the oven to be able to pull the 1400 watts, but I did not need to be lugging around the big one for my projector for the movie or to charge my phone while at the picnic table, and I found I kept wishing I had brought one of the smaller ones. And finally, as I watched my dad make the fire, I realized I had no clue how to make a fire, and soon I'll be out here on my own, and I should definitely learn how while I have someone who could teach me. Maybe even pick up some other survival skills too, like how to change a tire. But honestly, I can't wait to be past this learning stage and to be able to have a list of more fun things I want to work on, like maybe picking up skills like bird watching or fishing, or even just sitting in my camping chair improving my Rubik's Cube time. Someone suggested on my last video that in 1 year we should come back to this same campground and do a 1-year growth video, and I think that is such a great idea. I hope that in 1 year we've had both countless incredible road trips and just feel that we're so much more comfortable in our rigs and confident in how we're using them. We've been talking about so many plans of places we want to go and things we want to see, but for now it is fun and exciting to be here in this stage, where everything is alight with possibilities and hope and wonder and what ifs.
I left the hall light on in case you come back home. I sent a text that I was wrong. Oh, won't you come back home?
Coda.
Why won't you come back home?
Coda.
I've been sleeping with the light on dim.
Perfect.
The dark feels heavier without
That's good that she can't go.
you. And every chord I strike cries your name. Won't you come back home again?
Alright. The floor is so dirty at this point, I don't even take off my shoes, I just embrace how dirty the floor is. I'm gonna have to wash it at this point anyway, so. I feel like with weekend trips, the van becomes a mess so much more quickly because, especially when other people are here and I'm not on my own schedule, like completely, I feel like I just end up throwing things in the van, like trying to rush out to go back and forth, and I feel like we've been here for like 48 hours and the van's a total mess. Also, last night when we turned the van around, it went on a pretty deep angle that it's sitting on now. Example A. So I'm on a pretty big angle. It's almost like an ab workout trying to stand up straight. I have the power station in front of the fridge because I felt like the angle was pulling too much on the fridge lock and it wasn't meant for this much of an angle, so I didn't want that to break or be stressed out too much. And then when I slept last night, I kind of designed the van so I could sleep on this side with like the kitchen counter will be here so I can have like things sitting on it when I go to bed. And like, you know, you don't want to sleep under upper cabinets. And all night while I was sleeping, because I had to sleep on this side to make sure, you know, okay, if I'm sleeping like this all night long, all the blood's going to go to my head. So I had to sleep this way. And so I just kept thinking to myself, when you wake up, do not sit up too quickly that you slam your head underneath the cabinets, which I did not. I did not, thankfully. Our plan was to try out the campground breakfast, but upon arrival, we realized it was $25 a person and cash only, so we decided to just do it the old-fashioned way. Because who wants to be sitting in here in a stuffy room anyway when we have a beautiful open campground to enjoy? And also, $25 a person is ridiculous. No thank you. I think we can do it better. So time to pull out my handy-dandy toaster because I was put on toast duty. Head down. Head down. It's really nice to have this time with my parents, especially when I spent the last few years traveling and not seeing them as often. Our family's at an interesting time where my youngest siblings have just graduated high school and my parents are entering their empty nesters era. It's nice to see them find so much new time to respark their own passions after having so many kids for the last 30 years. But it's also an odd time because just a few years ago, all of my siblings would have likely been here for our family camping weekend. It's just not easy for us to find time anymore where everyone's available for a family trip. It makes you realize that maybe waiting to get the RV or the van or the rig for the convenient time wasn't the right move, because the time you have as a family is fleeting. I thought about this a lot during the last year as every holiday came up and I realized it was going to be the last year when we would all be together for certain and not possibly busy with work or school or just live too far away. It's crazy how you can blink your eyes and one day I was 10 years old wrestling my older brother for Pokemon cards for the last time and I didn't even know it. And then I was 15 with my baby siblings and us all causing trouble together, and now I'm 28 and we're all going our separate ways and we'll never be under the same roof again. So even though I am the only sibling who could make it to our Father's Day weekend camping trip, I'm really glad I could make it and spend this time with my parents while I'm still around. In a way, sometimes I think maybe the universe wanted my van build to take so long. The universe wanted me to end up back at my parents' house building so I could appreciate these final times where my younger siblings would be around for the last time. Because otherwise I'd probably be in California or Canada or Florida, who knows? And yes, I could have been off exploring the Blue Ridge Mountains or Mount Rushmore, but those things will likely still be there for years to come. But the time I have with my family goes by fast, and it's valuable and more precious than any of those things. I remember after my month-long road trip across America, I finally got to the Grand Canyon. And after 20+ days straight of hiking, I looked over the edge to the gaping, iconic, revered wonder of the world, and I just thought, wow, great, more rocks. But on the precipice, I just kept thinking, this is why traveling alone just isn't the same. Because what really makes anything extraordinary is sharing it with the people you love. So yeah, maybe this is just a tiny campground with terrible showers that no one's ever heard of, but when you share it with the right people, it can be more beautiful than the Grand Canyon.